Um, so, welcome to the second half of Teen Heritage. This is entitled Chinese Brush Painting Appreciation for Dummies. So, as many of you know, Auntie Jeannie's mom was a Chinese painter for decades, and you know, we as the extended family. I'm going to put you guys on mute here. Joan, I'm muting you. Clarence, I'm muting you. Okay. Frank, I'm leaving you live just in case. Anyway, so we were blessed to have Auntie Lo in our family because every Christmas we would get a calendar with 13 of her paintings. And if I get a second, I'll try and grab them. And then for like various Christmas or various special events, we would get like another painting. For our wedding, Mary and I got one of her really, really great paintings. This will be in the presentation. So it started to really kind of get my interest, like, what is this Chinese painting thing? How does it work? Because it just always befuddled me that it's like, it's so kind of so simple, but yet it takes some skill and ability. So we're going to just do a quick review of Chinese brush painting and kind of the elements and the history and like some of the other pieces. So without further ado, and then I'll just do a shout out to Joan, Jeff, and me and Viv. We started watching this 25 episode series by Professor James Cahill on Chinese painting. It's this, and I'll reference that later in the presentation. I think we made it about a third of the way. Then it's like, whew, enough of that. So, okay. Anyway, let's forge ahead. So we'll go into a little bit of like family history because that's kind of tied in with the art. Family calligraphy, vocabulary, of course, some of my aunt's paintings, kind of a general review of Chinese painting, and then just some other resources. So let me do a quick check. Have any of you, Kevin, quit poking your cheeks. Come on, man. Have any of you done any kind of Chinese brush painting or calligraphy with a brush, anything like that? You can just wave at me.
I do.
Oh, Auntie Lo, of course, yay. And then
I love it. It's very therapeutic.
It is. It's so neat. And I've been doing for my Chinese class. I found a very nice brush pen. I don't know if you can see the tip. It's got a nice brush tip. So I'll use this, you know, to just practice the characters because, you know, a lot of Chinese language just practice the characters until you kind of get the hang of it. Okay, so you kind of get a sense of like, here's a little bit of what, so Auntie Nelly, it's great. So if you, anytime you want to toss any of your insights into this, please feel free, so anytime.
For brush painting, it's, I remember Michelle Obama went to China and she did a big brush painting in her body movement. And they say it's very much like Tai Chi. The movements are strong and then left up and strong and down. And so that's why I do Tai Chi, and maybe that's why I like brush painting so much, because it's part of the movement. It's very gentle and slow, but beautiful. Inner strength.
Right, and kind of like this careful control. I mean, there's a whole bunch to it. So, but thanks, Annie. I just keep tossing in anything that comes to mind when you're doing this. So, little family history. So this is my mom's and my aunt's family. So this is Wai Zu Fu and Wai Zu Mu. That's my mom's dad and my mom's mom. So here's the first test. Can you figure out, and this is on this lower right, here's a picture of my mom on the left in the red and my aunt, Auntie Lo, on the right, Jeannie and Beth's mom. So in the old black and white picture, can you pick out who is my mom and who is my aunt? Any guesses? Any guesses? Okay, so you can knock out the boys. So here's the eldest brother. Here's another brother. Anybody got any?
Well, are there only 2 girls in the picture?
There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 girls.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the shorter with the tie, that's a boy. The gentleman in the middle standing, he's the eldest son. I think on the far right, that's also one of the sons. I think everybody else is one of the daughters. I'm not sure about this one. Anyway, okay, moving along.
Your mother is definitely right behind your grandfather.
Yep, that's right. That's mom.
Yeah, that's your mom.
Yep. And then
What I thought.
I agree with that.
yeah, okay. And then Auntie Lo is
To the behind your grandmother to the right.
this one.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Next to the boy, the man.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So Auntie and let's see, mom was the number two daughter, and Auntie was number 3 daughter. Yeah. So anyway, just want to give you a little family history.
Okay.
But this picture, the black and white picture, is literally about 100 years ago.
Oh my
20s
God.
thereabouts. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. And then here's some family curriculum. So one year for Christmas, I said, hey, Auntie Lo, why don't you just do calligraphy of everybody's names? I'll make them into like business cards and I'll give them out. So everyone got their own little business card with their Chinese name on it. So this is Auntie Lo, Shen Jiao Xuan. So Jia, anybody recognize that character? Any of you guys, any of the kids?
Family.
Yeah, correct. So that was the generation name. And then my mom, Shen Jia. Anybody know this? Anybody?
Looks like tea.
Uh,
Cup.
yeah, I don't know what I don't know if it's the Cantonese is probably differently pronounced. Shen
Alan, are you
Jia.
pointing to something?
I'm pointing to this second column here. Can you see that? Does the mouse show up? Oh, maybe we should get. Let me get the.
Okay.
Let me get the.
Get the
Hey,
laser.
yeah. Hey, Kevin, can you do the annotations? How do you do the markups on the screen? You do that for me. I need a little pointer.
And then
yeah.
Alan. Great.
Yep.
Good. Alan, so your surname is Shun.
Mother's side, Shun is the family name. Yep.
Okay. And then the generation name was Jia.
Ja, yep.
Okay.
So mom's name is Shen Jia Qing.
Chin.
And I can't remember the character. I have to look that up again. Okay. So then this is my father's name, Yang Fu Xie. So it's his generation name, Fu, and then his given name, Xie. Okay. Now my elder sister, Virginia. So this is the Yang line. And then Yi was our generation name. And then elder sister, Virginia is Yang Fu Jie. Vivan is Yang Yi Ping, and I'm Yang Yi Lun. So that's kind of our characters. Hey, thank you. Nice job, Kevin. Okay, moving along. Okay, vocabulary. Okay, so the kind of the general term for Chinese painting is this guo hua. Letter guo is, like 中国, China, Chinese country. Hua is painting. And then here's the kind of a nicer version of the character. And the character itself, the original version is the top part is meant to be a hand, if you can remember what the symbol for a hand is, holding a brush. And the bottom is a field. So the original idea of painting or calligraphy was to kind of keep track of things. That's kind of a way to think about it, or at least remember it. Okay, and then the particular form of painting known as landscape painting is shanshui, which is literally mountain. Everybody knows the symbol for mountain and the symbol for water. So there's a little vocabulary for you. Okay, so now we get to the art show. Oops, Karen, let Karen back in. So this is we have, and I have in the links at the end of the slides. We have like we do in Yogli for all the photos for camp. We have a Yogli album with just Auntie's paintings, just as a place to put them, so we can go get them and look at them and stuff. And then what we're going to see is some of the favorites. And you can see the backdrop for the slide is a bamboo, and that's one of Auntie's paintings, and that's just kind of in my background for this presentation. So this first one is the one that just is really stunning. So so let me kind of, this is the painting appreciation for dummies. So think of it, you have this flat surface, a piece of paper or silk or rice paper or something. You have a brush and some ink. And what you have to do is represent 3 dimensions using paper, brush, and ink. That's all you have. So how does the eye perceive light? I mean, this is kind of gets into like biophysics and stuff. How does the eye perceive distance? So there's a couple of ways. Things can be bigger or smaller. So if it's bigger, it usually means the eye thinks that's closer. And it can be brighter or fainter. Presumably the thing that's brighter is closer to you because it's the light is bouncing off and giving you more of its color. So you can kind of tell, hey, Kevin, highlight this top right petal in the, can you circle that? Yeah, there. So why do we know that first of all, that it's a petal? And then why do we know that it's further away from us? You know, just think about how it's tricking your eye to think that's the flower petal and it's further away. So you can see the outline is a little less distinct. So it's kind of like if you're kind of short-sighted, you can kind of make out more detail if it's closer and less detail if it's far away. 1, 2, it's less ink, which informs your eye that, oh, I'm not getting as much light or as much color, therefore it must be further away, because light, as we know from the inverse square law, falls off as a square of the distance, all that kind of stuff. So you're getting less intensity because it's further away. Okay, so that's an example of like how you can use paint to establish depth. This one is a bamboo, and it's a bamboo in winter because your eye is thinking, oh, that white stuff must be snow that's lying on top of the bamboo leaf or the bamboo branch. And you can see again, Kevin, highlight this lower right or lower left area. Yep. So why are those leaves, what is the relation of those leaves to the rest of the plant? Further away, because the leaves are fainter. So there's less, and they're a little bit less distinct. There's a little less detail about them. So your eye goes, oh, they're probably further away. Okay.
I thought they were maybe newer.
They're also smaller.
Smaller too, yeah. You get the size, these leaves in front are, your eye is trying to go, these leaves are all kind of the same. So the ones that are smaller must be either younger or further away.
And there's a stem in front of it.
Yes, that too, right, exactly. So a painting can give clues to the eye about how things are arranged in 3 dimensions. Yep, that's a good point too, yep. Okay, so this is another one of my favorites. It's just, Auntie was great about just painting trees and flowers with red was, I think, one of her favorite colors. So, and in is it the Freer Gallery? You go to any one of these major Chinese art exhibits, they will show you these huge scrolls with nothing but egrets or nothing but plum blossoms or something, and just kind of goes on for yards and yards and yards. And then, so this is an example. So the branches, the nature of nature. That's kind of what an artist is trying to portray. And I'll talk to that in a minute. And then, of course, landscape, that's
Was
kind of
that a plum tree?
I believe it was, yeah. Then landscape, and the one of the beautiful things about Chinese landscape painting is the white has meaning. It adds information. So same idea, you can see more detail in the bottom and the right, and it's more vivid colors, darker, more color, just a lot of things going on. So your eye thinks, oh, that must be what's happening in front. Your eye is also kind of trying to maintain proportion. So, oh, Kevin, you doing some Chinese painting? Awesome. Keep it up. You'll be a master in a few years. So your eye tries to maintain this idea of proportion. So your eye thinks that each of these things in the painting are of similar size. So the fact that these ones in the middle and the back are smaller means that they're further away. Then the other dimension of landscape painting is the white is actually a part of the painting. It indicates that there are parts of this landscape you can't see because of clouds, fog, mist. So it also adds this dimensionality to it. And then this painting, sorry if it's a poor scan, but this is the painting Auntie gave us for our wedding. So this is, this blossoming tree at night with the moon in the back, and it's just hangs right by our front door, and it's literally, black and white. That's kind of what you have to work with. Okay, so now let's get into technique, elements, and components. So like I said, you have three physical things to work with: a brush of some thickness and stiffness. You have ink of some kind, and usually in traditional days it was an ink block. The reservoir where you could mix water with the ink stick, and you could mix it to a certain level of consistency and a certain level of darkness. And then you have the media itself, either rice paper, silk, lacquer. For practice, you're using newsprint, kind of junky paper. And when Auntie passed away last year, we've been to her house many times, but I had no idea. You open up every drawer and there's just like stacks and stacks of practice sheets on newspaper, on cheap paper, all the way up to things that were, art pieces that could be framed, to some that were framed, but artists don't want to frame anything unless it's really going to be sold. So, but this is it. That's all of the pieces that you have to work with. Stick with hair on it. Another stick that can be dissolved into a inkwell, and something to paint on. So then beyond those physical, like those tangible pieces, there's things about who you are as an artist. So first of all, there's just your physical skill. And when you're a beginner like me, I can write characters 100 times and maybe get one or two that are like, oh, that's pretty good. So there's just physical skill with the implements, the brush and the ink and the paper. Then as you start to progress in your style and in your capability, then there's your personal style. There's like certain ways that are indicative of who you are, that's expressed in your brush and your ink and your paper. It's like, how do you paint a bird? Like, how do you make trees and rocks and things like that? So then, again, this is all this idea of practice. At certain, pretty soon, and I've noticed it myself just in the simple, just basic calligraphy that I do, if I'm not concentrating, man, it's junk. It's just like, that doesn't look like that character at all, because I'm not really focusing on it. So it takes kind of this intention, this clarity, this stillness, so that you can really focus in on, here is me using this brush with this ink on this surface to do something, and not just like watching TV and doing it at the same time. That never works. Okay. Or doing that while you're distracted yields a certain result, which may not be what you're, looking for. And then the last piece is this idea of the life force, which is kind of all art is kind of about that. Is like, how do you take some like physical representation of something and convey it on a piece of paper or whatever medium, or metal even, hey, Perry, how do you go from what you're thinking about or seeing into, I want to represent that using this medium. So those are kind of these personal traits and abilities and muscle that you build up over time as you practice. Okay, so that's kind of what happened. And then, like, what do you want to convey? What do you want to capture in your art? So like we were looking at before, and the ones that are kind of traditional in Chinese are, of course, landscape. And there's all different versions of landscape painting over the centuries and the dynasties. There's the whole realm of bird and flower, which is all natural, flowers, birds, animals, fruits, just all kinds of natural, kind of small subjects. There's the panorama, which is those long scrolls that we were talking about earlier this week. These long scrolls that are, just kind of go on and on and on. And then one of the things that came into style during part of Chinese history was called the Three Perfections. So what would it be? Would be a group of literati, scholars, and so we get together, and so like, Brian, you're a great poet, so you write this odd, like you're whipping down the wine and everyone's having a good time. You go, hey, Brian says, I'm going to write a poem. So Brian starts writing this poem, and it's this awesome poem. But Brian's calligraphy really sucks, and it's like, but Kevin is a really good calligrapher. So he says, okay, Brian, I'm going to take your painting. I'm going to just write it on this scroll with, my really good calligraphy. And you're half drunk also, but you're like, even then, you're like awesome calligraphy. And then James is like a really good painter. So he says, okay, I'm going to take your poem, and I'm going to put together a painting that kind of goes with that poem. So that's called the Three Perfections. You have this amazing poem, this beautiful poem, written in this wonderful calligraphy, and you have a painting that goes with it. So that was one of the things. That's one of the things Chinese did for kicks back in, a couple dynasties ago. Questions? Yes.
I have a question. So can you talk a little bit about the idea of copying the masters?
Yep, we're getting to that next.
Oh,
Hold your question.
okay.
Any other questions? Anything else? Okay. All right. So other elements of Chinese painting. So there's your audience. So if you're really good, the Duke or maybe even the Emperor will say, I want you to paint me a painting for my wife's, 30th birthday. And it's a royal commission. So better be good, and it better be on time. Otherwise, and then, so that's, or the Duke, or there's some birthday or some official event, and you are the artist selected to do a painting to commemorate that event. Then there's, like I said, these scholars, literati, kind of the upper class folks who hang out with each other, and they just do stuff to kind of show off with each other. It's like, hey, look at this painting I did. It was nothing. It was really, it's like this brilliant piece of work. And so you're just doing things for each other because you are with people that appreciate what you're doing. And then there's kind of this general commissioned work. It's like, oh, I want to do something for, the administrator wants to have a painting for his office and those kinds of things. So there's different audiences who would want to buy these paintings. Okay, so there's that. Then there's this whole sociology thing. So each dynasty, each emperor would have a certain taste It's like, oh, I love, you know, Emperor Brian says, I love landscapes. I love, oh, the flowers and the birds. Yeah, fine, but do me landscape. So whatever the emperor does, everyone goes, oh, I love landscapes too. Yeah, landscapes. I've always loved landscapes. They're great. They're the best. Yeah. So everybody's kind of moves. And you can see that in Chinese history. If the emperor was Buddhist, like everyone said, Buddhism rocks. That's awesome. Or, you know, just whatever influence is coming through in the ruling classes, that's kind of what permeated down through the various rests of the government and, you know, the classes. Okay, so there's that. Then there's also this political climate. And so there's this reference to Su. So you see this very kind of plain drawing of what looks like a shepherd or a goat herd or something. It's like, well, what? So this is there's an entire meaning to be unpacked here, because this fella, Su Wu, was the ambassador to the Xiongnu, which is one of the, you know, the rebel savage tribes out to the west. Emperor sent him off to say, could you kind of take care of these folks and establish trade, you know, make them, you know, do something so that they're under control. He went out there and the Xiongnu just killed his entire party of soldiers and everyone else. They left him alive, and they did a whole bunch of just horrible things. They turned him into a shepherd, and they just, you know, tortured him. And this was years and years and years of just this, you know, kind of tortured existence. But then after a few decades, the Chinese Empire heard about that he was still alive. So they sent another embassy there and captured him. And Su Wu, all those years, maintained his loyalty to the king and to the empire. So if you ever see a Chinese painting of a shepherd, which is usually done in later dynasties, it's a protest. It says, there's something wrong going on with what's going on now. I'm going to paint a shepherd and just show you guys what real loyalty means to the real king and the true emperor, not whoever this bozo is, right? We could use some shepherds right about now, I think.
Hanya,
Okay. Yeah, it was like, really, a shepherd? What's the big deal? Okay, then, like I was mentioning before, religious influences. So Buddhism was just a huge kind of impact on the psyche of China. So there's lots of Buddhist painting, Taoist, like all these different religions. And these various influences from you know, religious and political, all these are kind of coming into play to influence and inform, like, what's the art that's kind of sellable or in demand. And then this last kind of component is schools. So there'll be, like Beth Lo was talking yesterday about pottery. There's this area of China called Jingdezhen, which has been the pottery capital of China for millennia, because the clay itself comes in different colors. So they set up this whole thing, and to this day you can go there and do anything you can think of with pottery. So same thing with schools of painting. That'd be like, you know, this, like I just say a couple of Southern Song. There's this Ma Xia, Four Masters of the Yuan Dynasty. So there's like this kind of style of painting was promoted, and then people started to try it out. You know, it's like sort of similar to Renaissance masters, like everybody's, or Impressionism. It's like everyone's trying to this is cool. Let's all do this. So everyone starts doing it, and you get this kind of, who can do it, who can do something different with it. So you get enough of a critical mass that it starts to be a thing, like in its own right. It's like this school is kind of established as a way of doing Chinese painting. And then, you know, as you see other succeeding dynasties, sometimes they'll go, I'm painting this in the Ma Xia style because I have, you know, something about that style speaks to what I want to do, like that kind of thing. Okay, moving along. Questions? We're going to get into, oh, we don't have much time. We got to keep going. Okay, so like I was mentioning, James Cahill, the late James Cahill, did this amazing series of lectures. They're all online, jamescahill.info, 29 sessions. So it's a ton of material. If there's one that you want to see, it's one of the last ones, is Addendum 2A. which is talking about fakes. It's fascinating. And once he shows you, here's the real deal and here's the fake, it's like, wow. I mean, you can't stop. It's like you suddenly see something that you couldn't see before. So I recommend that one. And it's on his website. You can go and check it out. So let me show you some, we're getting into copies, reinterpretations, and forgeries. So as we've been kind of citing this whole week, this whole idea of copying in China has a much different meaning than it does in Western countries. It's, you know, we talk about stealing someone's ideas, intellectual property, Copying was a well-known technique and well-used throughout the dynasties. And the first use was this master-apprentice idea. So Kevin, as second son, Willer's probably going to send you off to study art because the first son will take care of the family, right? So you're going to be off to art school or something, or like you will never get the family empire, so you're off to art school because you like that artist, and goodbye, Dad. I'm going to be an artist. And so you apprentice with this artist, and you show up, and the artist goes, "Who the heck are you, man? Get into the back and start here." What does the artist know? The artist knows his own work. So here's one of my paintings. Do that and keep doing it over and over and over again. And maybe in a year, I'll see if you're any good. Okay, go, bye. So that's like the first level. Will you make it through that apprenticeship? Will you give up before you finally get to be good? Well, let's see. Let's give you a year.
Yes.
And if you're still there, okay, great. Kevin, you're at it. Start painting. Okay, so at some point, like you've decided, yeah, I'm going to stick around, and the master can tell me what to do. I'm going to be as good as him. So the master at some point will say, "Hey, Kevin, you're pretty good. You know, this painting I'm doing for the Duke, you should do the trees because you're really good at those trees, man. So I'll do the main parts. I'll do all the cool, you know, tricky stuff. You just do the trees. Okay, go. Get out of here." So that's kind of the next level of apprenticeship, is like, okay. Then every master, of course, has their studio and their gift shop. So somebody comes in and goes, yes, Master Clarence. Is Clarence still here? No, Master Nelly. We love your work. We'd like to buy something, but we are simple means. Do you have something that is maybe a lesser work that we can buy? Well, you know, it turns out your apprentices have been doing copies of your paintings many, many, many times over, many, and some of them are pretty darn good. So the master goes, "I'm gonna take that one. It's not mine, but it is just as good, and it's only half price. Special deal for you today." So, you know, you can sell works that are, you know, as good as the master, not the master's actual work, but yeah, pretty good, and you know, you get a deal. Okay, so then there's.
But it sounds but Alan, it sounds like they endorsed. I'm actually shocked that the actual artist endorsed these copies. You know, it's not like Picasso would go around saying like, "Hey," you know what I mean? Like, aren't they degrading their own work a bit by saying like, "Hey, you can get a fake one"?
Yeah, well, it's all how does the master deal with it? I mean, it could be just very commercial. It's like,
yeah,
you know,
actually, you're right. You're scaling your work.
Yeah, it's like I'm sure some masters, and there's some arguments about certain paintings. Was that the master's work, or was it, you know, the senior apprentice? Because it's like so close, you can't really tell. So did the master say, "Here, this is one of mine, thank you," or did the master say, "This one is just as good as mine"? You know, like it's all commerce, and you know, how honorable was the master and all that kind of stuff. I see we're at 3 o'clock. I got about 3-4 more slides. So, okay, so let's keep on going. So works in the style of the master, lesser commissions. Like, I'm sorry, I can't do your commission. I have one of my senior apprentices who is really good. He's going to take care of you. I will make sure he does it as good as I would do it, you know, that kind of thing. And of course, please visit the gift shop. Okay, and then the last kind of idea of copies is scholars of succeeding dynasties would go, "Oh, that painting from 500 years ago was amazing. I'm going to do one of those because I want to learn, and you know, you can study how a master did his work by trying to redo it. So that was kind of that sort of copying. All really, you know, pretty honorable and pretty much a tried way of learning how to paint and how to paint in different styles. Okay, so then there's, like I said, this reinterpretation. So the painting at the bottom is this this painting of, it's called the Night Revels of Han Shizai from 960 AD. And this painter was sent in kind of to spy on this night of debauchery and, you know, wine drinking. And, you know, you can see over the right, there's some little bundle in the bed. I wonder what that's all about. And this is several panels. So in Cahill's lecture 5, he goes, well, this isn't the actual painting. This is a 12th century Song Dynasty reinterpretation. Like, how the heck would you know that? Like, what? So, well, so let's zoom in on this painting a little bit. And we're going to look at the pottery. So in the middle is like the original painting. And then I zoomed in on the right. You can see the actual, this is kind of the wine or the tea service and stuff like that. And then on the left is, so there's a Chinese ceramics expert who found that exact kind of reproduction of that pottery. And guess what? It's from the Southern Song style, which is several dynasties later. It's 300 years later after the actual time of the painting. That's how you know it's a reproduction, because the artist said, I'm going to make sure that you realize it's a reproduction, not the original, by showing you, like, this would be like putting a picture of Barack Obama on the side of the painting or something and going, oh, I think that's a modern reinterpretation. So this is another, like, this artist wanted to do that painting, and so that's what the artist did, and but gave the clues about, you know, this ain't the real deal, because this is pottery that I used in my own, you know, my own tea service. Okay, got to keep moving. We're at 3. Okay, so now,
Those are so.
oops, sorry. Question? No, okay. So now we get into the third part, copies or imitation forgeries. So we already saw Clarence was portrayed Zhang Daqian. He was in the 20th century, he was best known, most prodigious, most skilled artist of his time, and one of the most gifted master forgers. So see, the painting on the right was a tribute to this 10th century artist, sold to the, you know, Zhang Daqian says, I have found this painting. It's from the 10th century. It's amazing. It's authentic, you know, even to the point of the paper, the imperial and other ownership seals, and the red, everything is like, it squares out as like being totally bona fide, totally authentic. So sold to the Museum of Fine Arts for, you know, however many hundreds of thousands or whatever. And then Zhang Daqian was revealed to be the painter who did it in the 50s. So that's kind of the, hey man, what are you doing? You're just faking us all out here. But that's kind of this, and what the ironic thing is, there are artists who forge Zhang Daqian's paintings to try and do that kind of double, you know, it's just like, it's crazy how it all kind of gets level upon level of forgery and stuff. So that's kind of this next level. If you are so good at doing Chinese painting that you can recreate the various styles and, you know, the various, to the point of, you know, paper from the period, chops and seals that are authentic to that time and the succeeding times, you could make all kinds of money forging Chinese painting. So anyway, not to get that as a career, don't try it. Okay, here's some resources. So Auntie Lo's paintings, yogali.com, 99 paintings. This is Chicago stuff. So in Chicago, Chinatown, there's this Heritage Age and Art Free Museum. I think it's probably closed right now. Art Institute, Field Museum. We've looked at this before in some of the other lectures, this long scroll. There's a electronic version on the chinahall.fieldmuseum.org, where you can actually kind of literally like scroll through this painting, and those yellow dots will let you kind of hover over that. It'll expand that section and explain what you're looking at. And I think that's it. Shisha, any questions? Going once.
Fantastic presentation.
Shisha.
I know, that was amazing. It was, and your presentation style makes it so much more interesting, Alan. You add so many interesting tidbits.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
But did you study this stuff? Like, I'm impressed that you know so much about this particular topic.
No,
I didn't think you were presenting it. It's great.
No,
Hey, Alan,
yeah, Frank.
Lawrence has been after me to have you open up this room because this is where the social group is going to be coming.
Oh, really? Okay. All right.
Elisa's group is still going strong, but I think the preteens must be done.
Okay.
I guess.
Let me stop sharing. Yeah, Sonia, just to answer your question. So I've kind of picked up stuff over the years, and always, every once in a while you go to an exhibit and it's like these amazing paintings, and I just started to go, man, what did it take to do that? So.
Well, maybe
anyway.
we'll have to go to the museum when the Boston Museum of Fine Arts. We have a membership, but I want to look for that painting now.
Yeah. You just hunt it down. It must be.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's still. I don't know if it's on display. How they
It's funny
curate it
because the
now.
Boston's is known more for the impressionist paintings they have, just like Chicago, just others. But I didn't know the Asian. I'll have to check out the Asian room to see what they have in there.
Yeah, it must have something with the Chinese population of Boston, man. There's got to be something cooking.
Yeah.
There. All right, that's it for today. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Alan.
Okay.
Okay, okay. Alan?
Yeah.
Go ahead and close it. I'll let Lawrence know that you closed it, okay?
Okay.
Okay, you guys can all re-sign on right after this and you can get back in there.
Yeah, we
Okay.
can get off of here and get on to the next
Yeah.
the next Zoom
Okay.
room for hanging out time. Okay.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
So it's closed.
All right, I'm getting out of here.
Thank you, Alan.
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks, Auntie Nelly.
Okay. Alan, close it and I'm going to send him a text.
Okay.